Police brutality in the city. What a pity, boy, it not pretty. I said them pull you over and is box, said them pull you over and is whack, said them pull you over and is a kick, said them pull you over and is batatatatata.
You live in Miami. I know you know a bit about, police brutality in the States.
Right.
How does that resonate with you with the type of officer you used to be? Like, why is these guys doing this?
Well, when I came to the States, I actually became a police officer again in Miami.
Okay.
Right? And served in Miami-Dade Police Department for 17 and a half years, retired as a sergeant. I was the admin sergeant for the Northside District, which is the toughest district in the place.
I didn't read that. In Google. That's not what
Again, I had no intention of becoming a cop again.
Okay.
The first time and the second time. So I wanted to go to law school. I'd gotten a full scholarship. I was at Miami-Dade. I had an honor scholarship, and then I got a full scholarship to go to pre-law at FIU. However, before the paperwork could be taken care of, it was actually announced at our formal sermon and thing. The professor was awarding me died, right? So that kind of got sidestepped. And a friend of us was a junior manager with Miami-Dade County, and called my wife. She knew my wife and said, hey, I know your husband want to be an attorney. I go study law. University of Miami is hiring. So I said, wow. So I went, did the test. Scores were like, boom, all the way up there.
Mm-hmm.
And went down there, did everything. Then they said I was to come meet the staff. The University of Miami Police Department came under Coral Gables, right? So I went to Coral Gables, did some polygraph and some other thing, and then they said I'll meet the staff, and got my conditional letter of employment. Beautiful.
Wow.
So I was getting ready to leave, and while driving down there, I saw this black officer crossing the road. Kind of interested, right? So I'm finished, and the guy said, oh, we have a Jamaican who works with us. So the guy comes and I said, hey, I'm Malachi. He told me his name. And I said, you were a cop in Jamaica too, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, where you used to work? And he said, Senton. And I said to him, do you know this female who was one of our batchmates? Wasn't a friend of mine. That's very attractive, very dark skinned, very attractive girl. Mm. But she started going up in the ranks, and then you heard that she was dating a senior officer in the force, dating a Dan. They found out against each other, world started crashing. She basically overnight had to run away from the force. So when I told him, he said, who do I know down there? And I said, I called the person name. He was like, you know her? And I'm like, yeah, we were at the training school together. But he kind of asked as if, it was somebody I was involved in something. Oh. I said, no. We just know each other from training school. So he asked me where I worked. And when I mentioned the flying squad, he was like, you're a murderer. Just like that. So, because the flying squad then was the squad with the hard-nosed detectives who would go after hardened criminals, and they were always involved in all kind of shooting, sometimes controversial, whatever. Mm-hmm. But what most people didn't know was that the flying squad also had the most brilliant investigators in the island there. And a lot of them weren't into that. It was just a clique, that when the officer would push and they're like his boys, his dogs, and then, but they didn't realize that. So I'm like, yeah, I was there. I was stationed there. And when he said that you guys are murderers, everybody was coming out their office and looking at me. So listen to this. 2 days after, certified mail, we have withdrawn our letter of conditional employment. All because of that, right? Mm-hmm. The chief had already called me and said, I'm flying down to Jamaica to meet with your mom and meet with your sister that spoke about it. Was all set. That's what I'm telling you.
Whoa.
2 days after, because what the guy said, we are withdrawing our conditional letter of employment. So that was it. I forgot it. Then the same friend called and said, Miami-Dade was hiring. I said, my scores were so good. I just went there, look at my scores. Bang! Just did the formalities after. And you'd say the rest is history. So that's how I ended up being with Miami-Dade. Now you asked a question about police behavior and stuff like that. Right? One of my things that I always, as I told you earlier, I don't like when you lick me. Because you hit me, you have a problem. Mm-hmm. So I never, during my police career, make it a habit or something that I do to hit on people. I don't do it. You do something, I arrest you, what have you, if you have a little struggle, and usually the way you approach people, they know. I've had like you'd say, Signal 400, say the top of the line criminals. People have done hard time and I've encountered them one-on-one late in the night and they start stiffening up and behaving, and I said, listen man, don't try that with me. And they said, oh, I know you're a good man, I don't want to get in anything, please. Yeah. And I said, okay, we can reason now. I said, man, I don't want to go back. I did like 30 years, please. I'm saying, yeah, we can talk, no big thing. We're human. Mm-hmm. So I don't subscribe to, because the use of force always tells you that you use as much force as is necessary to take your subject into custody. As much force may be something verbal. Sir, you're under arrest, turn around, put your hands behind your back. A lot of times people do it, right? I'm not going to say they are the exception to the rule, right? But once you take the person into custody, there's no need for you to be piling on and becoming Muhammad Ali or that type of thing. I do not subscribe to that. Mm-hmm. I also don't believe that because the law gives you a certain amount or certain steps where you can read and say, okay, I can tick off that, so I can kill a guy, right? I also believe that you, as a human being, as a rational, thinking human being, and I would hope somebody with experience, right, should be able to read a situation and know when and when not to take a life. It shouldn't be something that because you can tick off something, oh, me I just killing blood clot because I know that the law already on my side.
I see what you mean.
When you know that you could step back. And I was fortunate to have been exposed to two types of training. Where say under the Jamaican system, then, I don't know about now, because that was the years ago I left it, where you do the pulling the firearm or taking a life would be a last resort, right? So you do everything, at least that's what you're supposed to do, according to your training, right? You do everything to avoid taking a life, right? Here it is not so. If you see somebody come into aggravated felony or stuff like that, imminent danger, but I'm always want to say that you, the human being, can actually in real time analyze a situation and know. I remember having a conversation with a person who's now a chief in Miami-Dade Police Department, and I think it was a sergeant at the time, and they encountered some guys in did some robbery with a stolen vehicle, and this other young sergeant came on the scene and he was like, well, I'm gonna kill the boys them, and he was like, he's the type of person who put his hand on me and said, ain't that some shit? Eh? We have the situation under control, why you want to come kill people? So that's what I'm saying, right? Yeah. You, as a police officer, I believe that you're possessed with certain powers and certain responsibility that you should just arbitrarily, because, as I say, you can tick off the box and know that when you're right, you'll be fine. You just take a life, okay? Now, life is too precious, right? You are to work through your options.
That's right.
And if you can safely do what you have to do without endangering your life or other people's life without taking a life, then you should do it by all chance. So I really don't subscribe to just jumping into it. I know you have situations where some people will test you. I've seen it. You know, you have
Just
10
because
officers
they don't like you, right?
You have 10 officers around you,
Mm-hmm.
and 7 of them will be itching to beat you down, and you're still gonna be mouthing off and threatening them what you will do. It's you know, so stuff like that. So I know the dynamics. You know, not everybody.
It's not one side.
Sometimes you encounter like persons who have mental illness, father and sick, right? I remember we dealt with one even where it was pretty late where this guy, whenever police officers went to his home to take him back to the hospital, it was always a big fight, put it that way. And when we went to the house, the relatives were saying, they called, and then the hospital called because they had gone out with the where they give them drips and everything. I don't remember the car name for it now.
Oh, okay.
But you could bleed out and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So when you
like
leave,
IV,
right?
yeah.
So they always wanted to get them back to them. So when we went, and the family was like, he's gonna fight you guys. He's gonna fight you guys, right? And we had quite a number of us there, and we kind of huddled, which is what I'm telling you about. You can really mitigate we huddled together, and we said, who have the best interpersonal skills in the group? And there was this guy, Ron, and I said, okay, Ron, you take the lead, right? I'm good, but he's seen after to me, and you know, he's more minister-like.
Mm-hmm.
So he went and he said, hey man, like Johnny, what you want? Yeah, man, Johnny, don't bother with that, man. You know why we're here, Johnny. And started conversing with him on his level. I said, man, we're not here for that foolishness. We're not here for no fight, nothing like that. The hospital is a concern that you have the IV, you could bleed out or, get infected. We just want you to take you back there so they can take it out of your arm and clear you, you can come back home. That's it. The relatives were frightened. Because they're used to a fight.
Got you.
Right? But again, I'm saying that I believe, and I've seen it being demonstrated, that the human is powerful enough to work through situations if you want to do it.
That's right.
Right? Some people are not equipped. We have to give you that too. And there's a 10 brothers, 10 different minds. People perceive threats and stuff like that different. And when you have a guide, you tend to want to go straight to it. And say, I am the type of person who, I want to say, blessed with certain analytical skills where I can actually read dynamics in real time. Whether it's on paper or whatever, I can look at it and say, okay, this will work or that won't work. So when I encounter people out there, right, I was a training officer with my department. And when I have to deal with calls with mentally ill people, I said most of the time they're catatonic, they're out there, spaced out, right? I had a strategy where I'd approach them, of course at a safe distance until you kind of gain the confidence, you kind of watch the mannerism, and you say, for argument's sake, I usually say, my name is Smith, it's Malachi Smith, and I'd point to my name tag. And regardless of how spaced out they are, they always look. They always look.
Amazing.
I said, my name is Malachi Smith, right? And what's your name? And you wait. Sometimes they answer very slow, but they're gonna tell you. And you say, okay, I'm not here to harm you or to hurt you. And for that matter, to take you anywhere. However, your relatives are very concerned about you, about your well-being, right? And so they ask us to come here to assist them and you, right? This is what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna take you to a medical facility and they're gonna evaluate you. And ask you some questions, stuff like that. They are professionals. We are not. That's their thing, And, you know, if you're fine, they're going to make you come back home with your relatives. You know, if you need some help, you know, they have their, usually they respond, right? I've had many times where other officers will come up and say, boy, you're good. I thought this was going to be hell. Again, I believe in the human persona has the strength, you know, to walk in an environment. And would it be a gunman there about to me, I look at him and say, listen, put it down. Right? And he knows immediately that, listen, this is a no-nonsense person.
Exactly.
And they'll do it. And they come on and say, boss, I love what you do with me, you know. I love what you do with the thing. You're a good officer, you know, boss. You understand? You can do that. I arrested a lady one morning on 66th Street and 18th Avenue. Christmas morning. Smoking crack, man. Burning a crack pipe. Right then, I said, hell no, you gotta go to jail.
Yeah.
So, I arrested her, man. Christmas morning. She cussed me out. She cussed my wife. She cussed my kids. She said, I hope that everybody you have alive die, and I hope the car turn over and children went shot in her ass, and she went on and on and on. I said to her, all of that, I said, like when you arrest people for drugs, you know, there's an option and it you can take off if you want them to go in treatment. And I said, listen to me, you know, I'm gonna help you. Go help your mother, go help. You know? And they said, listen, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna try and get you in a program, right? And she cussed me, she cussed. Sometimes they curse until you actually become afraid. It's almost like you feel like, you know? So I said, I'm gonna put you in a program. So I did the pre-file package and did it tick off that option. Was not called to trial or anything after that. So didn't see her around. So about 6 months later, I'm driving down the street, right? No, most people use a surname, you know? But I heard somebody say, Malachi, right? And look, it was the woman. Totally changed. Sure. I put on weight, looking good, complexion had returned, and she said, look at me, Malachi. Whoa. And I'm like, what happened? She said, oh, you man, I went in the program and I said, didn't I tell you? Say, you're a good man. And I said, what are you doing around here again? I said, you know, here the devil lives here. She said, you're right, you know, Mr. Malachi, you're right. So that's what my policing career was about, right? Yes. You know, did my admin stuff, can be very hard, can be very serious. Because I like for argument's sake, when I'm training my young officers, right? They go through 6 phases. The first 4 phases they are with field training officers, right? Usually when I'm finished with my first phase, they're better than the 4th phase of other people. Because I tell them, I say I'm entering into a contract with you. Yeah. I'm gonna pour everything I know into you, right? You're gonna go to other field training officers, you're gonna take a little from them, little from that, little from me, you're gonna become your own officer. But I want when you leave from me, you are well prepared. That's right? And I remember the first training I had, he's a sergeant now with the department, Moise, you know, specialized in cyber crime and stuff. Very good kid, Haitian kid, right? And his first month evaluation, I had copies of it. You know, the field training officer who wrote it was the ES field training officer for the district, the most experienced, and he said, I don't have to teach this trainee anything, you know? And he was so proud he made a copy and he took it to me. So that's the way I am. Yeah. And it goes just like you see me performing. Yeah. I bring a certain amount of passion to things that I do. Because, you know, we're all human. That's right. We all have feet of clay. But I was trying my best to put my heart into whatever I do. That's right. You know, because I like when things come out good. I love when more than anything is my people exceed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I love that.
Yeah, no, thank you, because I have a cousin. His name is David Humes. He's an officer in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And you remind me of him. Like he came up and he's a trainer and everything. But
yes,
I can't wait for him to see this. But thank you for discussing the mental health aspect, because I think that's a big issue here. What's the disconnect between officers and
There you go.
So thank you for that. For sure.
Yes.
So we're gonna move on.